Hello and welcome back to Generation Skywalker. I'm Dan, and we're back for a very special episode where one of our hosts has just been on the trip. I think it's fair to say the trip of a lifetime. Not only has he been to Celebration this year, but the greedy so and so has also been to Tatooine, aka Tunisia. Welcome, Jez. How you doing?
Mate, I am doing really well. Great to see you. How are you?
Yeah, good mate. Good. It's good to see you too.
Awesome. Awesome.
So it's been you've had a bit of a crazy year, Jez.
I have. Yeah, it's fair to say, you 50 this year, right? So difficult year last year, wanted to make the most of it this year. And it was just a case of, yeah. So I did Star Wars Celebration. That was incredible. That was really, really good. But it was in February that my wife said to me, let's have an adventure. You've been talking about it for ages. Let's go and do galaxy tours. And yeah, well, wow. I'm still chuffed. Bearing in mind, right? So here you go. I got back 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm still grinning thinking about it now.
So what is Galaxy Tours, Jez?
So Galaxy Tours. Well, we're gonna have an interview later on with the CEO of Galaxy Tours, but it's an experience for Star Wars enthusiasts and even Indiana Jones enthusiasts as well, where you get to explore safely with a really, really great guide, various different filming sites and scouting sites in Tunisia, where you will get to go to the Lars Homestead. You will get to go to where a Jawa jumped out and said Utini and shot R2 and all these things, and you'll get to recognize all these places. You'll get to go to where the cantina, the exterior of the cantina. So it's an opportunity where you just think, you've been a lifelong Star Wars fan. I mean, look at us. We've got the figures, we've got the old stuff. This is very nostalgic for us.
Yeah.
And people go on holiday sometimes if they're lucky enough to go on holiday every year or so. And it was just a case of, yeah, let's do something different. And it's definitely different.
Highly recommended then.
Yeah, yeah.
So what about the whole experience? What does that look like, Jez? How do you even you know what does that even incorporate in terms of getting there, organising? Is it easy, or did you have to piece the whole thing together yourself? What do you have to get into to sort this out?
It's really, really straightforward. So you quite simply go onto galaxytours.com and you get to see the opportunities which are there for you.
Yes.
And once you've signed up for it, you say, right, I want to do the 3 day package or the 4 day. And it's best for me to probably not go over what packages they currently do. Because a couple of years ago, they didn't have a 3 day one. Now they do a 3 day one, which is what we
Right.
do. So I'm
Okay.
aware that they do a 3 day, currently a 4 day, and a 6 day. And they do other things as well. So they do big group ones in
Hmm.
various different bits and pieces. But I looked at what was on offer. I looked at what I was able to get on the 3 day package with my wife. And they say, right, what we'll do is this is the fee, and this is the cost of it, and this covers your hotels, this covers your food, this covers the transportation, the guide, the everything. So it's a very, very good all-inclusive way of doing it. So in a nutshell, what we did was we flew out on the Saturday morning really, really early from Luton Airport, and arrived there by about 10 o'clock in the morning on the Saturday. Had a full day in a hotel of our choice. There were some recommendations
Okay.
which Davin gave me and previous friends who had been on it. So
Yeah.
we had a day in our own hotel. And the plan is the Galaxy Tours will pick you up first thing in the morning on day one.
Yeah.
They always say to you, arrive with at least a day in hand, and
Hmm.
we will pick you up, and we will give you your itinerary. You'll know well in advance what it is you're going to be going to do.
Hmm.
So they take you around first night, couple two, and then take you around the second day, second night, and then take you around the third day, and then they leave you
Yeah.
for your third night in another hotel of their choosing,
Okay.
and that's all sorted. So then on then what are we talking? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then on the Wednesday morning, it was a case of right now we're going to go away to another hotel of our choosing for
Gotcha.
until Saturday when we're going to fly home. So
Okay.
so for us, it was a week's visit, and in the middle. the essence of the sandwich was this wonderful tour. But we had just a great opportunity either side because I'm
Yeah.
going to say it now, I'll say it in the middle, I'll say it later. Tunisia is amazing. And so it was great. So we kind of lived out of a suitcase. We kind of,
Well, that's what I was going to ask you,
live
because
out of a bag.
my wife, she can't do without a 23 kilo suitcase wherever she goes. So I'm guessing you're just dragging your luggage around with you, and it's getting chucked in the back of the Jeep and going
Yeah.
around Tunisia with you.
So air-conditioned Land Cruisers,
Yeah.
really, really good wheels, and you'll be at the hotel, and the driver there. So yeah, I'll put it in the boot, and so you put your stuff in the boot, and you keep with you whatever it is you need
Right.
in
Okay.
the day, and it's all sorted. So yeah, and there we were dragging a suitcase into Luke Skywalker's home. Yeah,
Nice.
come on to that shortly, I'm sure.
Nice. Very good. So, and you said you didn't want to go into the packages, Jez, but what did your package entail?
Yeah, so 3 day Twin Suns expedition. And so from a Star Wars point of view, um, what they do is when you sign up for this, there's sort of disclaimer questionnaires and various bits and pieces where they want to find out more about you as a person, as an individual, what makes
Mm,
you tick from a Star Wars fandom point of view, and also you're a vegetarian, what, etc., etc. But it's what of all the things which we offer,
what are the priorities?
what's your priority?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think what they then do is they mold the itinerary for you based on what they know is logistically possible. But
Mm,
right, oh, you're interested in this, right? Okay, we'll have this as the last one. So maybe we can have a sunset where Darth Maul is overlooking the landing area if you're a particular prequel fan.
mm.
But for me, the priorities were the igloo, the exterior of
Yes.
the Lars Homestead, the iconic igloo, the salt flats, but also the Hotel City Idris, which is the interior of Luke Skywalker's home. I absolutely wanted to do that. I wanted to go to the Overlook.
Hmm.
I wanted to go to those places, and quite clearly, I wanted to go to where the Jawas and where the R2 was. So it was mainly for me, OT stuff, and
Nice.
then they produce the itinerary, and away you go. What was great was signed up for it and instant comms with on WhatsApp with Davin Galaxy
Hmm.
Tours guy, just
Hmm.
saying about this that, and the other. And then probably about 3 weeks out, maybe about 2 weeks out, a new WhatsApp group is made on my phone from Davin and the guide who Davin's got. So he's got a series of a collection of very well trained, sort of vetted guides.
Yeah.
And I know that Davin sort of personally invests in them and checks them and gives them tests and makes sure that they've seen the movie time and time again. And they're very knowledgeable people.
Yeah.
And so WhatsApp group, and then in this WhatsApp group, it was like, right, here is your, Allinson's itinerary, and it was
Hmm.
all clearly laid out there. Do you want to do this? And do you want to do that? And that was our main method of comms initially. And how do you do in advance prior to meeting someone? And it was just really, really good. So I felt that any questions I had in advance were able to get answered.
Hmm.
I had a couple of questions like, oh, is there plenty of water? Do we need to bring our own water and all that sort of stuff? And all those things were sorted.
Yeah. And did you get you mentioned obviously you and Jules were in that Jeep. Was there, I mean, if you'd have gone a different route, could you have ended up with other people in that Jeep with you, or is it always,
Ah,
the
right,
guide
yeah.
and your party?
Yeah, great question. So no, when you sign up for one of these things, unless you're in a dedicated group, there's quite a few sort of big dedicated, right, well, this is one of the big ones of the year, and Davin, CEO, will, be there on that one.
Yeah.
But no, for us, it was the two of us.
Yeah.
And it was our own unique um guide. So it's me, my wife, the guide,
Hmm.
and a driver. And
Okay.
it was, felt very much like you kind of feel like you got a VIP package.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
absolutely, you feel not that you do it for that, but it's just like, no, we haven't got to worry about anyone else. This is
Yeah.
this is our trip, and it was great.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, because that's the thing in it. You don't want to end up in a Jeep with two people you don't know for 3 days.
No, no, someone with a real bad body odor, or just just yeah, no, you don't want that. But it was great. And you
How
know
do you
what?
feel going into that, Jez? Obviously, I mean, you're quite a well-travelled man, but going into that situation where it is just you and your wife, and essentially a couple of strangers driving through the desert, did you feel vulnerable at all, or was you quite comfortable the whole way through?
Nah. I didn't feel vulnerable at all. And in fact, at the beginning, just struck up comms and just normal communication. So, Iman, so we had a female tour guide
Yeah,
who Davin said is stellar. That was
yeah,
he summed her up, his newest tour guide,
yeah.
and quite a young lady, says the 50-year-old, right? So I was actually quite pleased about that anyway, personally, because I was just thinking my wife will be able to probably resonate better as well. We're going
Yes,
to a different area. Culturally, you might be thinking, oh, what's this like? What's that like? Actually, everything was brilliant anyway.
yes, yeah,
But I just think, no, that worked out fine. I'm not particularly worried about certain things. And let's face it, this is a premiere business now.
yes, yeah, yeah.
Dan's not going to take any chances, right? There's TripAdvisor,
No,
there's all these things, and
yeah,
so everything for him will be hugely important. So therefore, no, from a worry point of view, no, all good. And you just do, I said to Iman, do you want anything brought from the UK? I'm on my way out, and it's
yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
striking up that relationship straight away. And it turns out, Iman and Davin, but Iman, who we were with all the time, was just Davin said Stella. Yeah, she was. She was
Excellent.
brilliant.
And comms are all good. There's no language challenges.
No, no, there really, really wasn't. If you've done French in the past, which
Hmm.
which I haven't, but the French is very, very frequently spoken out there. So
Yes.
the guide, I mean, so our guide Iman spoke 5 languages. She she
Wow.
made she majors in languages like Russian and everything else. So she was really, really good. And nowadays with phones, with Google Translate and all apps and various things,
Mm.
not a single translation issue. I mean, in advance, we were trying to learn some phrases, and I think those gestures of trying to trying to say, please, thank you, what about this, what about that, and I was at the airport speaking into my app, and my app was giving me the translation back, and then I was like, oh, okay, 2 weeks, and doing all that. But yeah,
You're
wasn't
doing your best, old boy.
doing my best, but I think
On
sometimes
the douche.
indeed, indeed. So yeah, but it was there were no comms issues.
Brilliant,
Yeah.
excellent. And I suppose before we get into the actual where you went yourself, what about the grub? What was the food like? Was it
Food was quality.
good? Yeah.
Yeah. So my wife is vegetarian,
Yeah.
and I often have vegetarian anyway, just because it's easier, if
Yeah.
we're together and stuff like that. So I wrote on the questionnaire initially, vegetarian. And I had seen some previous travelers who had gone off to Tunisia and done various tours and stuff, and people
Mm.
complaining about the food and, oh, I ordered this, I got this, oh, this is
Mm.
what meat pizza's meant to look
Oh,
like. And it was
right.
like a cheese board. And I was just thinking, all right, it's only a week, we'll be all right. And the food was outstanding. The
Excellent.
food, the food was absolutely brilliant. And yeah, no complaints at all
So,
from
so you took
from
you
us.
took all your pot noodles home with you.
Yeah, I didn't need any of those. My Rocky bars and everything else. Didn't need any of that. No, it
Excellent.
was all good. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. So what did you see, Jez? Where did you go? Tell us what your itinerary was. Tell us a bit about that.
So I knew in advance. So what I'll do is I'm gonna for the this isn't our usual sort of podcast because it's been a
No.
while since we've done a video podcast, or mainly an audio based one. But for the purposes of those people who are just listening, so I'm just showing you there just a little sort of map. I don't know if you can see that, and I'll put a
Yeah.
digital version on the screen. So we got given our itinerary. You get a map of Tunisia. It's like, right, you're going to go here first. You're going to go here. So we went to the Toshi Power Station first of all, which is it's referenced in A New Hope. It's
Deleted
a
scenes.
deleted scene.
Yeah.
But what they do, this is, yeah, Galaxy Tours give you this access to their app, right? So you have the app. You and I can get on the app now. But when
Okay.
you get a special code, which will last about 14 days for you. Then you can get all the background stuff because Davin has put in years and years and years worth of research. So we're talking, coordinates, bits and pieces, loads of behind the scenes footage and
Mm.
pictures and various different bits and pieces and history of the movie. And so you get access to all of that as well. So you can be in the car like, oh, we're doing this, we're doing this. And it shows you some scenes, which the deleted scenes. So
Yes.
straight away, the guide is like, oh, do you want to recreate some scenes? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And of uh, Luke and is it Fixer Kimmy
Biggs.
just like looking at, oh yeah,
Yeah.
so there's the Biggs one, but there's one when they're looking up at the space battle and stuff.
Yes. Yes.
And this is one of my first surprises because my wife Jules just jumped straight into it. She was like, "Yeah, okay," and like in for a penny, in for a pound. And so we were doing all this stuff. So Toshi Station was cool because it was the first one I saw, but even though I didn't really care about it too much
No.
because I had no recollection of that as a kid. Why would I? Because it was deleted
Mm.
scene.
Mm.
But it was still fun to be doing that, and it was the perfect sort of
Opener.
starter for us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A
Yeah.
moosh
Yeah.
moosh. And from there, we were going down the roads, down the sort of coastal path in the car, and everyone's chat, 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 and all of a sudden it was like, there it is, there, that's Obi-Wan Kenobi's house, and so it was just on a little bit of it's just on a little bit of land sort of sticking out. There was this Obi-Wan Kenobi's house, and they said that they were doing all their scouting, doing all their filming and everything in Jerba and in Tunisia,
Mm.
and all of a sudden they spotted this house or this dwelling, and they just said, we don't know what we're going to use that for, but we need to use that. It just looks great.
Yeah.
So we went there, and that was quite kind of nice, kind of cool. And I had some figures with me. I took some of my original. Yeah, there he is. We had a great time. I took some of my original figures with me, and setting those up. Um, and I got to go inside, and again, that was kind of a little bit spiritual, a little bit just. So I'm inside Obi-Wan Kenobi's house. It's pretty. Yeah, it's kind of quite spiritual. I've been watching these movies, man, for 45, 46 years.
Yes.
And it was really, really special. It was really, really big. And this is before all the good stuff that I wanted to
Yeah.
get to.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And
No one lives there then, Jez, right? That's just
no,
funny to see
no, no. Yeah,
just see
it's
some
just
old Tunisian coming out going, not again.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
More
no,
tourists.
no. It's because it's quite funny because then we went to the or we had been to the cantina. So
Okay.
let me just have a little look here. I just want to make sure I got my order right. So yeah, so first of all, it's the Sidi Jamal Mosque, which is the Toshi station, and then it's the Amgar Mosque, which is Obi-Wan Kenobi's house, and then you went to a gym, which is Mosan Isley Cantina, the
Yes.
Stormtrooper checkpoint. You don't need to see his
Yes.
identification. And Docking Bay 94 Alley, right? So that's all very close in Jerba.
Right.
And it's quite funny because you've got all these locals hanging around outside a shop or having a smoke or just playing something or having a drink. And then you've got all these like Westerners just rocking up, like taking photographs of like a random bit of wall and taking photographs of this and recreating scenes. And the locals must just be thinking, what on earth? But one of the great secondary effects of Galaxy Tours is the income generated, the recruitment, the employment, and everything else which goes with it. This is money going into Jerba, Tunisia,
Yeah.
all the different areas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did
so
you,
going
did you bump into many other groups that were out doing tours as well
no,
then when you
no.
oh you didn't when you mentioned
Yeah, on
about there was
this
other people in
yeah, no,
Moss Isley.
on the second day we saw some bikers.
Right.
So bikers just going out and obviously having a motorbike tour.
Yeah.
But I think the way it works, Galaxy Tours, they'll have stuff overlapping, so they might have someone start a tour on a
Mm.
Sunday, someone start a tour on a Monday, particularly if it's busy or so. And but no, every time we got somewhere, that was our wonderful experience.
Oh,
I
wow.
wasn't just going, oh God, come on. I wasn't sort of saying, "Oh, come on, sun's going down, quick, get out of the way."
It's your turn.
There was none of that. There
Good.
was none of that. So,
Nice.
so that was just the first morning. That was just the first like hour and a half of day one.
Well,
And then we went off um, to the slave quarters of Anakin's hovel and the
yeah.
slave quarters of episode one, and that was brilliant,
Mm,
fascinating. The architecture, these buildings in this area is brilliant. It is really, really good. Yeah, we
mm,
to get there, we ended up going on a little ferry, but all of this is squared away by the guide. When we were queuing to get in the ferry, she was like, "Oh, should we go and get a cup of coffee?" And everything's just squared away by the
mm,
guide. They just cover it all. We have lunch somewhere paid by the guide, dinner somewhere paid, breakfast, everything. So that 3 day of your tour, you
mm.
don't have to pay for anything unless it's fridge magnets and tips if you wanted to, and alcohol. So if you
Right.
you know if you wanted an alcoholic drink or anything like that, then you pay for that. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
everything else was covered. So yeah, we were. Then we went past the Tatooine sign. The welcome to
Yes.
Tatooine,
Yes.
goodbye
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Tatooine, and just stuff like that is just yeah,
Special.
it's just yeah, it's special. It's tick
Yeah.
box stuff, and so the slave quarters. Then we had some lunch, um, and again in an area where episode one, where you've got Qui-Gon talking to Shmi, and
Yeah.
talking about his midichlorian count and all those bits and pieces in those buildings.
Mm,
We were there, and then the afternoon tour, more slave quarter backyard streets, and then Hotel City Idris, which is the subterranean hotel,
yeah.
which was the lower level of Luke Skywalker's home.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so for those people who aren't aware, that Luke Skywalker's home is hundreds of miles apart, the exterior and the subterranean hotel. So the downstairs bit is Hotel City Idris, which is a sort of troglodyte hotel, subterranean hotel, which has been around for years and years and years. And I think it was late 60s that it got turned into a hotel.
Mm,
And then when they were doing all the filming, the scouting, they were like, "Oh, yes, we can use this." So we got to stay there, and what an incredible experience and facility that
yeah.
was.
I remember seeing the photos of it. Because I think at one point you weren't you all in your holes playing. What were you playing? You were playing a game of something. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. We were playing the international game of Uno. So we get to this place and you're there, and so we rock up, and this is again a marker of how nice some of the Tunisians are, because this particular area there were locals. Inside the hotel there's a bar,
Yeah.
right? Star Bar, I think it's called, something like that, right? So in
Yeah.
the hotel's really well decked out. You've got the different bedrooms, and there's the eating area where they had breakfast and where the blue milk was, and all those things. And it's just like you dreamed it. It's real, all of it, all of that sort of stuff. But they've also got a bar. And when we rocked up, that it was actually quite busy in the subterranean bit, the bit which you walk around in, and you had Owen sort of going, "Luke, Luke, Luke." There was loads of people there, and I was like, "Oh, okay, this doesn't look like the photographs which I'd previously seen." And it's because it was slightly later, and there were some locals who just using the bar as a bar, right?
Right. Okay.
And but what this is a mark of culture and just loveliness
Yeah.
is one of the locals came up to me and said, "We're just sat down here, but if you wanted to sit there because you're staying in the hotel, we'll move to wherever you don't want us to, don't."
Oh.
And it was just really sweet. It was really nice.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they were sat down at the where the breakfast area is,
Right. Okay.
and what I wanted to do is me and my wife, we sat up on the sort of steps which Luke would go up to go into his bedroom. So it's a slightly elevated position.
Mm,
So we were able to look down because I knew the morning I'd be at this sort of breakfast area. So we were there on the steps to Luke Skywalker's bedroom, steps actually which lead to nowhere, just a thing in the wall. But just playing Uno, and we said to the guides, at this stage because I think the relationship had been formed already. We were
Mhm.
like, "Do you want to join us for Uno?" And so the three of
Nice.
us played this. It's the international peace game of Uno, and she introduced us to some new rules, and we introduced her to some new rules.
Interesting.
And we had some myself and my wife just had some beers, got the figures out, got my little Luke Skywalker out, and just had this moment of just taking some photographs. And then all the local sort of patrons cleared out, and we were the only ones staying in the hotel.
Okay.
And so me and Jules had a room, and the room was excellent. And I was a little bit kind of thinking about the room because in the guide it's like, oh, it's quite a rustic room, whereas the other two hotels they're all singing, like
Yeah.
five-star hotels, really, really lovely. And I was like, oh. And I sort of sent Jules a message before. I didn't send her a message. I said to my wife beforehand, I'm not sure if we're in the same room. I don't know how big these rooms are. I don't know if we're on a camp cot, if we've got a blanket. That's my idea of rustic, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
lived rough before. And we go into this lovely big room and wardrobes, lighting, power sockets, duvet. It's a bedroom.
Yes.
It's a decent enough
Oh,
end.
good.
And so the whole experience was great. And then in the morning, we had dinner there. Dinner was great. The breakfast was great. The food, the sanitation, everything was all great.
Excellent.
Had some beers there. So yeah, we were just playing Uno, having some beers, and just looking at this, just thinking, can you can you can you believe where we are? You know. And with that, you could almost think, right, job done, let's go home, because that in itself was a great first day.
Just on that hotel then. So is it in? I wouldn't like to say quite a built up area, but you get the impression when you watch the movie it's in the middle of the desert. But
Yeah,
if there's locals knocking around, is there a community down
It's
there?
a wonderfully cut movie. So obviously you get when you watch the movie now, you can see it there. You get Luke going along, and out of the igloo, out of the
Yes.
what we then go to a bit later on, the Lars Homestead, and walks across and then looks down into one of the
Yes.
craters, and then the camera's there. So it's just camera films here one day, camera films there one day.
Yes.
And so it's just looking down and then within, so you don't get to see any of the exterior. No,
Right.
there are various things around.
Okay.
So I've got some exterior shots looking in to the Troglodyte Hotel, looking into the big sort of crater, and no, there's plenty of things around there.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice. Yeah,
yeah,
brilliant. It's good to know, isn't it? Eventually
yeah,
saying, Luke, make sure he buys a droid that speaks bocce. It's there's all other stuff going all around it. It's just
yeah,
the camera tricks. Ah,
yeah.
that's pretty cool.
It's just camera trickery, So just outside the hotel, and that hotel is on Booking.com and everything like. It's
Oh
a
wow.
real hotel.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
so I ended up buying. It's a very sort of roughly put together.
Fridge
Little
magnet.
fridge magnet because there was a
Yeah.
trader outside who did various different bits and pieces and had some bowls. So Jules was like, I want to buy a bowl. So so we and this doesn't cost much, it's pennies really. But
Yeah.
I wanted something to take away with
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
So yeah. And then the fact is it's so sun bleached. I was like, yeah, perfect. I'll have that.
So that was day one then, is
Yeah,
it? We're still
yeah,
on
that
day
was
one.
day one.
Day two
Yeah.
then. What happened day
So
two?
I know it's a day two, crazy as it seems. So on day two, wake up and I think we get about an hour or so there as well for more photos. And the guide is like, we take some more photos. You have the breakfast with the blue milk, right? Loads of photos. And then we departed. We did a couple of extra bits and pieces. Our guide was like, "Oh, let's just nip on here on the way," which was great fun. But we then had quite a long drive. So there was quite a long drive just to get us set up for some stuff in the afternoon. So
Mm,
it was, the first day the stuff was relatively close. I think the longest
yeah.
drive we had was about an hour and a half. But then it was a case of right, you are traveling. And it
Mm,
was a good job was, we were in a comfortable car. Um, so then we go off and we've got the Moss Esper Marketplace.
okay.
So yeah, and that's still set up. Pod Racer Arena Pit. the starting grids, Mos Espa slave quarters set, the Sith landing desert
Yeah.
area where you've got with
Good flat.
Darth Maul
Yeah.
and the canyon, the dunes, and so there was a load of stuff from episode one and episode two, but the Mos Espa film set was really fascinating. Actually, you
Mm.
still got various different bits and pieces. You've still got Watto's junkyards, and
Wow.
so they just left this set there. And yes, there are some local traders who are there who've got
Yeah.
some stalls set up, and but they're not really pushy or anything like that. They certainly weren't pushy to us. It was
Good.
all really, really pleasant. We went down over some dunes and just looking at the not the geology of everything and just the rocks where you've got the Darth Maul fighting Qui-Gon, and
Mm.
Anakin drop, and all that sort of area.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It was just like, oh yeah, that's that. And then you were using the app, and the app was saying, yeah, this rock. But some of the landscapes are just breathtaking,
Mm.
really are.
So it became more than just about Star Wars then.
Yeah, yeah, it really
Yeah.
did. It's just, it was almost like an Attenborough thing, but it was just brilliant. And you were looking along it, and it was like, why is the ground shimmering? Is the ground wet? And it's all the salt crystals and everything else. And
Wow.
it was fascinating. But at the same time, whilst I was doing all this, I was just thinking, we can't be late to go to Lars Homestead. We can't be late to go to Lars Homestead, right? So because I knew that that's where we'd be on the
Yes.
second night. So
Yes.
so the first night, obviously, Hotel City Idris, and amazing. And I was just, oh, we can't be late, we can't be late. And the guide was just like, just chill, everything's fine.
Mm.
It's not my first rodeo. So we did all these amazing things, and then we drive to the exterior at Lars Homestead, which is Chot El Djerid. And we're there, and we arrive in plenty of time for the sunset. And
Nice.
as we got there, as we approached it, because we were approaching it in a vehicle, I could see there were like two or three other people around
Okay.
there, and I was just like, oh, okay. And as we got closer, they were actually some locals who had just set a little table just to the sides,
Yes.
not interfering with any photographs at all. Because you see my photographs, you
Yeah,
can't
they're
really see the
fantastic.
table on any of them.
Hi.
And so there were some locals. It was, I would guess, it was the father, his wife, and their children,
Right.
and just selling a few bits and pieces and some rocks and some stones and some sand and cimbers and various different things and fossils.
Yeah.
So they were selling some bits and pieces, and I think after about 20 minutes or so, then they just left all of their wares and then drove off.
Wow.
They just left it all there. And then, so we were then just sucking up, having a little, just absorbing everything. Now, from
Mm.
where it's had water in the past and flooding, actually the inside of the dome, the igloo, was
Yeah.
full of water, full
Oh
of
wow.
water. But naturally, I went inside, and so I took some flip flops with
To
me.
get your waders on, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I went, and I think I did say, is there something alive in here? Something just moved past my leg, and so it was, but it was just everything about it. Everything was just breathtaking. It was just amazing, and
Yeah,
we were
yeah, yeah,
there,
yeah.
and then you had the craters, which were still sort of there. You could see where the sun was. I set up my mobile phone with a power bank on a tripod with a time lapse thing, and just to see. And it's hilarious because it sees us like going back and forth for ages, like take a photograph, take a photograph, take a photograph, okay, doing this and the other, doing various things, and you can just see the sun slowly coming down. For us,
Nice.
we were so fortunate because Galaxy Tours can control almost everything, but they can't control the weather.
No.
And I've heard a couple of occasions of the numerous occasions I've heard which have been successful where they've had cloud cover or it's sandstorm. There was a terrible sandstorm just a week or
Mm.
so before, But Galaxy Tours appreciate how much these things are to people. So on the
Yeah.
occasion of this sandstorm, I believe that they tried to then change the itinerary and say, let's come back here the second
Yeah.
night, let's try and do that. So they really want you to have the best possible
Yes.
experience.
Of course. Yeah.
But we did. There wasn't a cloud in the sky, and it was absolutely incredible. And so we just spent the evening there till the sunset. Prior to going there, they had got us to the hotel we'd be staying at that night at lunchtime, and we had
Gotcha.
had lunch there. So we had already checked into this really great hotel.
Mm.
Again, we were the only people staying in this hotel.
Wow.
I think it had 9 rooms. So that's 2 nights on the trot. We
Yeah.
were the only people staying in this hotel. And it was just kind of off season for them a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
said to me, "Oh, if you'd been here 2 weeks ago, it would have been a little bit busier." Um, so we waited for the sun to go down, and then we drove back to our hotel, and we were back at our hotel for like 8:15, 8:30, so in time for dinner and
Yeah.
you
Chill
know,
out time.
reflection. But that it was just it was just so good.
So
You
what
know,
is that igloo then? Was it, did that used to be a dwelling as well? I've never looked into it before. Did someone used to live in
no,
there
so
or?
that one was, you know, in fact I can't recall it exactly, but these have been built, rebuilt, built,
Yeah.
fixed, built, rebuilt, you know,
Yeah.
as the movies have gone and they've gone
Yeah.
back to it. So it's made of like, you know, epoxy. You can see very how solid it is. It's
Yeah.
had some damage where people, you know, some people have like chipped away at it or this, that, and the other. And it's
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
little bit of natural damage, you know,
Mm.
from sun and from winds and
Mm.
from rain.
Mm.
But it's no, it was just built for the movie.
Oh, okay. It's not an actual.
I
It's not
believe,
actual.
no, I believe, yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool. So that was day two. Then day three. I'm guessing there's a lot of driving then on day three.
Yeah, so day three, and the boys who had gone the previous year said, "Oh, I forgot how much driving there was," which is really interesting because on all of their Facebook posts, no one talks about the driving.
No. Well,
Forget
of
the
course not.
driving, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the experience. It
Yes.
far outweighs the driving. So we had our breakfast, and then we Junlin Wastes. Saturday we had the big sort of canyon tour where
Mm.
we went and just wearing sort of normal approach shoes, sort of, you know, trainers or you know, not heels or flip flops, you know, because you are going to go on a little bit of a hike.
Yeah.
And so it was the Magura Gorge, which is the Junlin Waste, Sluice Canyon Bluff, so the Moss Isley Overlook, Canyon Dune Turn, Pod Race Circuit area, Greek Island Canyon near the unpronounceables. Fascinating place where,
Yeah.
you know, that's where Luke gets attacked by Tusken Raider,
Yeah.
where Obi-Wan comes up to Luke, touches him on the forehead, where, you know, R2's peering out from under a rock, the rock which is then superimposed in the special editions, and all
Yeah. I've
those
heard about
thing.
that. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
where the Jawas are hiding behind the rock,
Yeah.
and then a different rock is where R2's coming down, and all of that stuff, and then the Overlook. So we did all of that, and there's an element of sort of Raiders of the Lost Ark
Well, I was going to
bits
say you mentioned Indiana
there
Jones.
as
There's
well.
the end scenes from that movie are filmed around
Yeah,
there as well.
yeah. And then you get more indie stuff the more you do 4 day, the 6 day, and
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, on the 4 day, you get to do pod racing. So you get to do quad biking and stuff like that. And but no, we just wanted to do the 3 day thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so that was brilliant. And the tour guide was brilliant. And just saying, right, no, you go here, I'll take photographs here. And just having that experience. And then afterwards, we had some lunch. And then it was driving all the way back. And it was meant to be like a 5 hour journey, 5.5 hour journey back. But I think because I was so fulfilled, because I'd had such an incredible time,
Mm.
and then I was just engrossed in my phone, like, you know, let's face it, I had about 600 photographs. So it was like, yeah, oh, that's the best one. Oh, I blinked,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
five
Yeah.
and a
Yeah.
half hours went like that
Yeah.
because I think my wife was asleep or probably nodded off because, yeah, it was someone said to me, I think it was our friend Mark Daniels said, I didn't sleep very well the whole week. And I didn't sleep brilliantly because I think I was like so jacked up on what's happening and stuff
Yeah.
like that. You're too excited. So I think come to day three, we were both kind of tired. But yeah, we then get checked into our third and final hotel as part of the tour. and we have our hugs and say goodbye to the guide and Iman. Sorry, the guide Iman and the driver who had been fantastic all the way through it. You know,
Mm.
they bought it was tiny little things like we'd said about we'd had our anniversary or wedding anniversaries and how long we'd been together and the day we met and all these things. And then when we were at the Lars Homestead, when we were at the igloo,
Yeah.
they then produce a cake for
Oh.
us with like some writing on and a lovely
Oh
little
wow.
message and all these things and the attention to
Yeah.
detail,
Yeah.
the personal touch and that sort of VIP
Well, yeah, and that's the sort of treatment
sense.
you get when you're VIP, isn't it? When those little touches and that
Yeah,
thoughtfulness, you don't
yeah.
get that when you go for, yeah, a week's package holiday somewhere. It is
No.
definitely it's a step beyond that.
So we then, we wanted to give them um, some tips and various different,
Yeah,
we wanted to do right by
yeah,
them
look
because
after them. Yeah,
clearly they get paid by Galaxy Tour, but it's only right that I believe that it's only right that they made this tour for us. We
mm,
had a great time. Fortunately, my wife's just awesome and she was throwing herself into everything.
yeah,
And she said to me, "You haven't stopped grinning all week, and if
mm,
that's not worth like a load of tips and this, that, and the
yeah,
other, then I don't know what is." But we then stayed at this hotel, and then the next day we got a taxi back to the hotel which we had booked for the next 3 days, and which was great.
fantastic. I got to ask though, Jez. Next time we sit down, if we ever watch Star Wars, if you start going, been there, I've been
Yeah.
there, we're gonna
Yeah.
have a problem.
Okay. All right then. I won't.
Oh, very jealous, mate. I need to get out there. I need to
Yeah.
get out there. But you've covered quite a lot there, Jez. I mean, what surprised you the most about the trip? What was the one thing you kind of were worried about and actually go, why was I even worried about that?
Yeah. What surprised me the most was, I think, just how wonderful the Tunisians were
Mm,
and how great the guide was.
yeah,
The Jules, my wife, and the guide had made such a great bond. The three of us had done
yeah.
that we all met up on our last night, before we flew home,
Oh, nice.
and and exchanging gifts and stuff like that. So I've got a Tatooine sort of twin sun binary sunset sticker on my laptop,
Right.
which Iman had gifted me,
Okay.
and she'd given us a load of tea, like local tea and various
Mm.
different herbs and bits and pieces, which I was massively paranoid about coming back through customs with because I had these huge bags of like looked like goodness knows what. But it was just that. So the Tunisians and their sense of just welcome
Yeah,
was the most surprising thing to me. Not that I had any preconceived ideas.
yeah.
I didn't go there thinking it's going to be bad, but I didn't go there realizing how good it would be.
Amazing. Amazing. And the weather was good as well. Obviously,
Yeah.
you've mentioned doing hikes and stuff. How was that in the deserts with the heat?
Yeah, it was warm, but you just sun to the ocean, hat, water. Basics, isn't it? And let's
Yeah,
do that.
yeah,
Let's try and stay in the shade a little bit.
yeah,
So our time when we went May, I mean May the 4th. Wow, imagine that. I'm sure there'd be a lot of people going there, wouldn't they? But so we went in May, sort of the latter part of May. It was starting to warm up a little bit. I've known other people who've gone in October,
yeah,
but the weather was great.
yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Very good. How much did it cost you, Jez? Let's talk.
Right.
Let's
So
talk
that's
the
a regular
moolah.
thing. Okay. So the total cost for the two of us, the tour, I think it was about 1,100, $1,200. I think it was about $1,200 or so, and
Yeah,
you're equating it.
it's about £1,000.
And
It's
so,
£900, is it?
yeah,
£900.
yeah, I think I've got calculated here. The tour was 2,150 for the two of us, and I think that
Okay.
was with another issue which I'll come on to in a second. The flights for the two of us, 361 from Luton.
Yeah.
That's not too bad, not too bad
No.
at all. One of the most expensive elements of it was just parking at Luton. So, if you can get to Luton cheaper, save yourself 130 quid. So we had 3 nights at the Radisson Blue, all inclusive.
Yeah.
So, gold band,
Everything.
everything chucked in,
Yeah.
and that was 560. The first hotel which we had again was all inclusive
Mm.
for the whole day, and that was 132.
Yeah.
ATMs. So the bank machines out there, we took
Yeah.
150 quid out, and then mainly for some tips and a fridge magnet. Um, so it was 3,500 plus travel insurance for the two of us. So £1,750.
Wow.
But when I consider I went to Star Wars Celebration
Yeah.
and spent more than £1,750 getting there and back,
Yeah.
and just doing a Star Wars Celebration. And I don't mean that in a in a sort of negative sense about Star Wars Celebration, but
Yeah.
I have been to 7 Star Wars celebrations, and this was £1,750 for me for a holiday of a lifetime.
Yeah.
I'd love to go back. Of course, I'd love to go
Yeah.
back.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if I
Yeah.
don't ever go back, I've done it.
No, you've done it, and you've got
I've
that
done it.
personalised time. If you'd have been on a
Yeah,
coach with 50 other people, you'd probably go,
yeah,
probably not the best value for money, but
yeah,
given the level of, I don't know, what's the right word, care you were given, tender
yeah,
loving care,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and that you can that's a good deal, I reckon.
yeah. Absolutely.
Amazing,
It was great. Great, absolutely great.
amazing. So what were your favourite bits, Jez? It's got to be the igloo, right? It's got to be
Yeah,
the igloo.
I think I think it was the igloo. I think it was just the it's great now for me and George. We got 19-year-old twins. Nearly called them Luke and Leah. Well, that was my idea. I was never going to get past that was never going to get past the wife. But we've got 19-year-old twins, and so for the last goodness knows how long we've been doing family holidays
Mm,
and holidays with four of us or with other members
yeah.
of the family. And this was one of those times when it was just the two of us.
Mm,
And I said to you at the beginning, I had a tough year last year. My dad
yeah.
passed away, Craig passed away, my dog passed away. And last year was really, really bad, and it just made me think, "Do you know what? You can't take it with you.
No.
Just live, right?
Yeah.
Just and we did. And the two of us, we came back even closer than when we went because it was just our experience, and it was just brilliant.
Fantastic, mate.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So have you've got a little interview for us now, right?
Yeah, let's. What we're going to do is we'll cut to an interview which, at the point of this recording, I'm going to have with Davin, who's the CEO. Now, I've seen an interview with Davin before with Richard from the Vintage Rebellion, asking him all about what is about Galaxy Tours. But obviously, I now know, so it'll be interesting that maybe Davin will be asking me questions about my experience, or who knows what. Who knows what we'll talk about? But let's go to that chat with Davin now. I am delighted to be joined right now by Davin Anderson, who is the CEO of Galaxy Tours. Davin, great to see you.
Jed, this is great. It's great to meet you in person. I know we've had a lot of conversations as you led up to the tour and enjoyed, the tour, the product that we gave you. But it's actually really good to meet you in person. Thanks for organizing this, Jez.
No, it's awesome, my pleasure, because you know that I enjoyed the experience so much, and I just, I straight away I was sharing images with you
Yeah,
and tagging
yeah.
stuff on Facebook, but we wanted to do this sort of review with Generation Skywalker, and I thought, right, I'll invite you on, and we can just roll with it, and maybe just you can ask me something, I can ask you something, we can have a bit of a debrief on the
Yep,
experience.
love it.
There's no notes, we've got nothing squared
Perfect.
away,
That's
so
all I want.
yeah. So do you talk first? Do I talk first? I don't know. What do you want to know?
Go ahead. Yeah, I think go ahead and you talk first, and
Yeah.
I'll generate my questions back from there. But I really do love the chance for this. I really do. I love to have guest interaction pre, during, post. The tours. It's
Yeah.
fantastic, and I love this format. It's just fun. This is great.
Cool. Okay. Well, Galaxy Tours, just remind me how long has this been going for?
I founded the company in 2020, so February of 2020, right in the middle of COVID. An
Yeah.
amazing time to establish a
Wow.
tourism company, right? It's really good. The concept behind Galaxy Tours initially, just briefly, was really a passion project to amalgamate an authoritative one-stop place for all things Star Wars filming history in Tunisia. That's really how the website began, and that's really where my research led. So I spent several years doing that, on the ground research, access to Lucasfilm archives, data that's in these Facebook groups, all those types of things, really gaining these insider perspectives. But our really first year of doing tours. Our first full year of doing tours was just last year in 2024. So it took us a bit to kind of find what we wanted to become and to really live up to that Galaxy Tours name in that regard. I always knew we wanted to get there. It just took a bit to get to really, for us to be able to say that no one does Star Wars tourism in Tunisia like us. I really wanted to back that up. So I wanted to have all this research, all the documentation, all the secret sauce reference material that we share with guests. You enjoyed that on your tour. I wanted to have all that in place, and then we had to train Tunisian guides, in order to get to that spot. And so it took some time, but now we're there and we're rolling. So it's fantastic. So that's a little brief history of what it looks like.
Brilliant. So you've honed it over the time, because I think initially you were looking at the minimum we're going to do is a 4-day tour, but now you do a 3-day, don't you? Yeah, which is clearly what I did.
Yeah, absolutely. We do a 3-day, we do a 4-day, and we do a 6-day tour. And then we've actually added day trips and half-day trips. So if a lot of, especially from the UK, now that EasyJet flies directly to Jerba or to Hammamet, especially Jerba, it's really easy for a lot of our British clients just to do a half-day trip or a full-day trip. So we do provide that as well in both the Jerba region and also in Tozer. So those are things we add. We want to be able to bring the joy that we provide guests, and especially Star Wars fans, and even tolerant spouses or partners of Star Wars fans, all of that together. We would like to provide that in as many different formats as possible. Obviously, our multi-day tours, which we call Twin Suns Expeditions, our 3-day, 4-day, 6-day tour, those are the most immersive, because you're also enjoying. It's the full package. It's not just going to the sites and gaining the Galaxy Tours expertise of that sites and having the experience. It's all of the restaurants and the hotels that we have handpicked in order to have a complete holiday experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I said to Dan just now that, I had this amazing holiday with a sort of break either side and the essence of the sandwich right in the middle, which was the Galaxy Tours. I love the idea of the individual day though, just jumping out, because again, when I was talking to Dan about it, and I had just gone through all of day one, and then we stayed at Hotel City Idris, I was like, that would have been enough. That's a huge bucket list thing there is. But there was just more goodness to come. So yeah. Still grinning. I'm still loving it. I've still got to go through my hundreds of photos and figure out exactly which one is going to be enlarged, and put it in a big, which one is going to go into the photo book. And you said about enthusiastic spouses. My wife has been the long-suffering wife. The tolerant spouse.
I get it.
She had the best time. We collectively
that's great.
had the best time. And I think that comes down to your guides and how and the locals as well, and everything about it, because I've been saying to people how welcome, how safe, secure, looked after everyone felt. It was a true VIP experience. But talk to me just about your guides, about how you go. But how many do you have right now?
Absolutely. So we now have. I've personally vetted, recruited, and trained 7 Tunisian professionals. So they're all accredited professional guides in Tunisia. I've trained 7 of them now. I have them in different locations, because again, we start and end our tours in different locations in Tunisia. So we have 3 in the Jerba area. We have 2 in the Tozer area. We have 1 out in the Kaiwan area for our Indiana Jones Cairo tour. We have that, which is one of our most popular day trips. It's just a standalone day trip by itself. And then I have 1 based in Tunis. And so we have a good spread. And also from demographics wise, we have as young as 25, we spread up to late 40s. And then we have 3 females and 4 males. And so we spread it in that way. In fact, we are lucky. I'm very happy to have found the 1 active accredited female guide in the Tozer area. she is a part of our team, and she's just a stellar guide. She's fantastic in how she does things. So we like to spread all the different choices, and each of them are specialized. In fact, none of them are allowed to give a Galaxy Tours. They're not allowed to run a tour unless they've personally been on a tour with me, so I can show them exactly how to run it. And it's not just showing them how to talk about the behind the scenes information. You've been on the tour, Jez. If you were with Emen, and Emen, like all the rest of the guides, it's not just talking about how to navigate the sites from point A to point B to point C. We actually discuss and engage in Star Wars lore, Star Wars history, Star Wars movies, Star Wars narrative, so that the guides can engage with you as the guests in a fan-like level as well. Yeah. And this is something important for the listeners to understand, is the majority of Tunisians, although Star Wars fans like you and I, we absolutely understand the Star Wars connection to Tunisia. It is inseparable. Tunisians will understand that Star Wars was filmed there, but the vast majority, are not Star Wars fans. It's not really part of their culture, and that's totally okay. It's just not there. So it's teaching Star Wars to these wonderful guides, and then letting that grow, and then teaching them how to navigate the Star Wars film sites in a very special way, specific way that I personally mapped out and done and navigated. So it's a whole kind of combination, and it's an ongoing type of thing. We have a Disney Plus Galaxy Tours account in Tunisia. All of our guides have access to it. We watch the films. We have Q&A sessions, all that kind of good stuff. And what I love to see is my guides will individually reach out to me and say, Davin, I was watching this film. I want to learn more about this. Please, this piece I didn't quite understand. And that's a fun conversation to have.
Yeah. Oh, excellent. Because I do know that, Iman, if ever there was any doubt, and it was only just, I think, just briefly, very briefly on one occasion, she just wanted to confirm in her own mind. She had the right answer in the first place.
Yeah.
But then she was on the phone to her friend, Dalil.
Yep.
So she was on the phone to the another guy, just saying, "Can you confirm this?" So it's like a little network of enthusiasm, which
absolutely.
I love.
And I also encourage them. I always say, hey, Star Wars fans, what's really fun is, a regular tour. You'll have a tourist from whatever country visiting Tunisia, and it's not a two-way exchange. It is the local guide is telling you about Tunisia or whatever country you're in, and you receive it and say, oh, this is great. I like the experience. But the fun thing about what we do is the vast majority of clients that we have are Star Wars fans, is that you know as well as I do, you want to talk about Star Wars. Mm-hmm. And so it's a two-way conversation. So I always tell my guides, our guests want to share Star Wars with you just as much as you want to share Tunisia with them, and you want to share the film site history with them. And so I always encourage them, have a conversation. If you don't understand something about Star Wars, you want to learn something, you literally have encyclopedia guests right in front of you. Just ask, and you'll get all sorts of answers, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure each and every time they're learning, they're absorbing more, and just taking it forward. So
absolutely, they really are.
So what does the future bring, do you think, for Galaxy Tours? I look on the near horizon, and you've got some very special trips coming up. I think there's a science one later on this year. But 26, 27, what's in your mind?
So no, it's a really good question. So we have two types of, beyond the multi-day trips and the day trips, we have two types of categories of tours, and I'm talking about the multi-day trips specifically. We have the year-round tours that my trained Tunisian guides will give, just like for you and Jules. You picked a date, I signed a tour guide, boom, it happened, life is good. And then once a year is the trend that I'm seeing. I will go once a year and I'll lead a group tour of up to 30, 35 people, just kind of depends. And that's what this one in November is. This one is a fun one. It's the first time that we're adding a science of Star Wars aspect to it. I'm bringing Lee Bullock. I think you know Lee, right?
Yeah, very well.
A legend, right? The senior physicist. The guy is smarter, than his pinky started on my entire body, right? He's just amazing. So I'm gonna
Hero. Yeah.
have him. He is awesome. So I'm gonna have him come, and you'll have discussions about just science of Star Wars types of things after dinner, that type of scenario. Then in 2026, my group tour will be a 50th anniversary celebration of filming tour, right?
Yeah.
1976 to 2026, and that was when we were at Star Wars Celebration in Tokyo last April. That one was our big seller. In fact, we sold out that tour during the one weekend. We had over
Wow.
30 guests sign up for that tour in Tokyo. So that one was a huge success in Tokyo for us. I'm thinking about, and I probably will do a follow-on 50th anniversary of the actual franchise release in 2027.
Right.
Probably we'll do that in May of 2027. And then we have in August of 2027, we have a sold out total solar eclipse tour, which is
Yes.
fantastic, right?
Yeah.
Now it's gonna be in August because I can't change the date of the solar eclipse. It is what it is,
Right.
right? So it's gonna be toasty. It's
It'll
like
be
it's
a
2nd
warm
of
one.
August. It'll be hot. But the wait list for that tour is so long, we'll probably add a second tour, but just go the opposite direction so that the
Right.
tours don't overlap and they'll only meet at the one total solar eclipse point, which will be Obi-Wan Kenobi's house. But in reference to long term, strategically, I'm engaging and interacting with travel companies, especially travel advisors, so travel agents, to really grow the visibility of what Galaxy Tours is. Right now, with this year, we are doing on average 5 to 7 tours a month, which is well above the expectation than I expected. So we're trending faster than I
Hmm.
had planned, which is fantastic. I would like to get to the point of where we are doing multiple tours a week, which means we'd expand our guide team. And to get there, the power of Google is great, and the power of word of mouth is also awesome. It is spreading. Our TripAdvisor reviews are definitely growing. Thank you for yours and contributing.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. But really, to grow this is collaborating and partnering more and more with travel agencies, travel advisors who have their own set of clientele, especially Disney linked type of
Hmm.
travel advisors, because
Yeah.
that really kind of covers that same kind of aspect. And what was also great too is, uh, and we had in Tokyo, we actually had a surprise visitors from Lucasfilm third party commercialization. They came and visited us, our exhibit, and they're
Awesome.
interested. There was initial conversations about highlighting Galaxy Tours in that third party commercialization Lucasfilm space. So there's ways to grow, but we're definitely, in terms of the future. I get a lot of questions. People ask me, do you want to do something else besides Tunisia? You and I obviously know there's a lot of Star Wars tourism sites around the
Hmm.
world.
Hmm.
When I started this, I knew we wanted to be the best and focus on one thing. And this is what we want to do. And so for
Yeah.
us, for where I want to be, Tunisia, Star Wars, that's what the Galaxy Tours brand is. And that's where I want to keep it in that space. That is something that we've really crafted and honed, as you've experienced firsthand. Every aspect is organized and controlled. That's where I want this to be. And so I don't see us expanding beyond that from the Galaxy Tours perspective, but I do see us expanding all the different types of tourists that we're bringing in, the Star Wars fans that are bringing in. We do have high hopes to where we're moving in the future, which is great for Star Wars fans. It's great for us, but really it's also great for the local communities, for the guides, for the hotels, for the businesses. We get a lot of outreach of just Tunisian companies and even Tunisian officials that will just reach out and say thank you for the new type of clientele you are bringing to Tunisia. So it's
Yeah.
all goodness all around.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Excellent. Oh, well, really exciting times and nice to see just concentrated goodness
Yeah.
rather than
Yeah.
what you might see some companies try and do is just have total world domination
Yeah.
and spread
Yeah.
themselves too thin and
Right.
just
Right.
lose that special sauce, the secret sauce that you
Yeah.
you talk about. Um, Going back to what you said about next year's one, the
Yeah.
filming anniversary, I think that's a
Mhm.
great thing because one of the aspects which I didn't appreciate until I was there, particularly on day three, was there we were trekking through the canyon, having a little look, the Jarrah Rock and all these
Yeah.
different places going up on the overlook. And then I was thinking, in 1976, people were hauling all sorts
Yeah.
of camera
Yes.
stuff bits
Yes.
and pieces, and all these things, these pioneers of filmmaking. Nowadays, we just take a
Right.
photograph on your phone. Oh no, delete, delete, and let's do the next one. And you put yourself in the minds of these cinematographers back in 1976, and you're like, "Did you get the shot?" Well, I don't know. We'll have to wait until we
I
get
don't
home,
know.
you
I
know.
have to see the dailies, right? Yeah, I know you're right.
So the respect, the increase in respect that I had for George Lucas and film crew and everyone behind the project, which was Star Wars, was just heightened so much by going on your tour because it just gave me more of a wow. I can't believe it. You know, we're trekking here, and they've just had to carry all this stuff for a shot, and then it's done.
With the hope that it would actually turn out. No, you're
Yeah,
totally right, and I'm glad you got that value. And that's part of that. That's part of that next level layered immersive experience
yeah,
that we cater to and provide. Where all our fans, and you've seen our the reference guide that we have in our app. It is, you can go as deep in it as you want to,
yeah,
or you can go as light as you want to. But it's there to cater towards the individual guest, and you grab that sense of that awe and wonder from just what it meant to do cinematography in Tunisia in 1976 back in the day.
yeah,
And some fans will grasp onto that, others won't, and that's totally okay. Everyone has their own immersive experience. But I agree with you, doing this really made me understand what an entrepreneur George Lucas was indeed,
yeah,
the visionary he was, and it made me understand why he and the senior crew members were completely stressed out every single day, especially
very,
in Tunisia. Is this thing going to actually work? Right?
yeah,
It
yeah,
really
yeah,
is amazing. Yeah.
brilliant. Right, I've got a couple of, I don't know,
Sure.
almost debrief points for you. I'm just going to put you on the
Yeah.
spot a little bit,
Please,
and
please. I love it. I love it.
let's have a little look, and then if you've got any other things for me,
We'll do. We'll do.
let's roll
Sounds
with
good.
it. So
Let's do
on
it.
the Galaxy Tours website,
Uh-huh.
there's some merch. You've got various bits and pieces, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, quite like that. But these are all available for people to order from America, aren't they? From the States. That's right. Because
Majority, yeah.
I was thinking when you're on holiday and when you're having a great time, I was like, I want to buy this, I want to buy that. But you've got the robe, you've got the Tunisian robe, which was there and it was great. But I was just
Yeah.
thinking, I want the baseball cap, I want this, I want that. But you don't have those, do you? Your guides don't have a sort of, here's a lot of stuff for sale here. There's no, you've got
Watch your
no sort
bag,
of
right?
secondary merch bag or anything. And even the hotels didn't seem to have anything. Do you think that's an opportunity for you in the future?
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up, Jez. Absolutely. It is, for right now, as you point out on our website, all of our items on our website are made to order, so it's on demand, right? And because
Mm,
we're not a production. I don't have a company. I don't have a factory. Those types of things. So we just use
sure.
companies that really do that print on demand and then make on demand type of thing, and that works for several customers. But I agree, we would definitely meet more of the fan and guest need if we had items in Tunisia ready to
Hmm.
sell. I agree 100%. Um, I'm also sensitive towards that. I never want our guests to feel like our guides or even the hotels we use are almost kind of obligating a purchase of some type of merchandise.
Yeah.
I'm always very sensitive to that because, again, everything has been paid up front. I don't want guests to feel, hey, I guess I'm here. The guide has this bag of goodies. I should buy something,
Mm,
to kind of go from
yeah.
there. So I'm sensitive to that way. So I want to. I love the suggestion, and as you noted, we do have the Tatooine robes, which are you can only buy in Tunisia, which is
Yeah.
great, and that's where they're made and that's where we sell them. But there's other, I want to find a balance.
Yeah,
I
sure.
think like at Darhi, where we often stay in Nefta, they have a little boutique area.
Yes.
I could easily work with and that's very non-stressful. You walk in, if you see something you like, because and I could easily provide like hats and t-shirts and sweaters to them. And if our guests want to buy something, they do. If not, it's no stress whatsoever. It's kind of,
Yeah.
I want to make it a non-aggressive type of experience
Yeah.
where if you want to buy that extra thing, yes, let's do it. So
Yeah.
great, 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 great suggestion. I think I think Darhi would be their little boutique would be a good spot to do that, because especially our 4-day and our 6-day tour, we do spend 2 nights there, and so you kind of have some time there for sure. So I love the idea. I'm also working with a Singapore-based lightsaber company in order
Really?
to in order to start producing Galaxy Tours engraven lightsabers for our guests that are specific to our guests, that will have the Galaxy Tours logo on the bottom of the hilt plus the dates of your tour. So it can
Oh,
be a
wow.
really specific type of thing. And actually, right now, ongoing, we have a 6-day tour. Our very first Asian guests, they actually met us and saw us in Tokyo at Star Wars
Oh, wow.
Celebration. They
Brilliant.
booked their tour, and they have come prepared. We've had a lot of cosplayers.
Right.
We're going to post some of the social media on our social media. They have their legitimate full light up lightsabers, and they are at every location, just
Amazing.
lighting it up with choreographed, like literally choreographed fight scenes. It's pretty impressive. So we're gonna we'll put those on our social media page, which is great. So there's things we're looking to expand on that. But Jez, I really love the idea. I because you're not the first guest that's asked that. Of saying, hey, I wanted to buy something in the moment because it means more.
Mm.
I get that,
Mm.
and I think the hotel solution is probably where we want to go.
Okay. No,
Yeah.
great. Talking about your social media and your Instagram, I think it's
Mm-hmm.
Team Galaxy Tours, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
Team Galaxy
Yeah.
Tours. I've seen some great stuff because people do upload. There was the skeleton
Oh,
onesies
that was
with
awesome. That was awesome.
with people the burning Lars Homestead. Yeah, brilliant stuff.
So
Yeah,
that was Gary Bleach. So Gary, you might know Gary.
yeah,
He's in the UK, right? Gary's a legend, and then Jim Braden from Texas. Those two, I mean, they were still. It was Jim's 50th birthday, just so
yeah.
similar to your situation. And yeah, they were our first to bring the full, like, just skeleton look for the
They're
the, the
brilliant.
Brew and Lars burnout. It was brilliant. I agree. So
They're
there's,
really
and
cool.
I love, like, and a lot of our guests will bring their action figures. I think you had action figures, did you not,
Yeah,
Jess?
yeah, I
Right?
did. Yeah,
And
yeah,
the posing, like, we get such great unique scene reenactments and posing and doing that on location. Everyone has their own certain set and style depending what generation they bought the
yeah.
action figures from. It's so fun to have that type of collection of photography as well. It's great.
Right. Here's my next question. Now, this
Yeah,
one
yeah.
might be a bit more tricky.
Good, sure.
Because I've explained to Dan that we just had the best time. We, from
Hmm.
start to finish, it couldn't have gone any better. And then I was reflecting and I was like, right, so we arrived on a Saturday, we had a night in a hotel, and then the tour started. We had
Hmm.
1, 2, 3 nights in Galaxy Tours provider hotels, and
Yep.
then we went to our next place and stayed there. So over a period of a week, we stayed in 5 hotels.
Yep.
So we were arriving, packing up, and moving on
Yeah.
and on. My thoughts are, is there the potential option that you could maybe in the future consider saying to your people on the 3, the 4, the 6-day tours, is you have an option of your first night could be the night before, and that's the
Mm-hmm.
day they arrive in Tunisia. So what would have happened would have been when we finished the third day,
Mm-hmm.
we then get dropped off at the hotel which we'd stay at for the rest of the week.
Ah,
Because I had to book a hotel for one night before, which was brilliant. And I've said to
yeah.
everyone that all of the hotels and the hotels which you kindly recommended as well, first class.
Mm.
But it's just that, oh, we've stayed there for one night and then we're checking out at 8 in the morning. And then, so whilst we absolutely loved 1, 2, 3, and then we had that third night, we then departed in the morning to go to somewhere else. So there is the potential that if the offer was there, we could have stayed at 4 hotels, not 5.
Yeah.
I
Understood.
don't think it could have, I don't think it would have been more of a hassle for anyone. I don't think.
No, no, not at all. In fact, so to directly answer, great point. In fact, I crafted the 6-day tour to do exactly what you just described.
Right.
The 6-day tour, most of our clients will arrive in Tunis, some will arrive in Jerba, and that's actually that day one of the 6-day tour is the arrival day, and
Right.
we take care of you that evening at the hotel. And it's the same hotel that you'll stay in the next day. So
Right.
you stay in Jervis. So we build that in. Absolutely. So I'm very, and then on the 6 day and the 4 day tour, you actually get 2 nights straight in Nefta because the way we expanded. So you're
Yeah.
getting double nights there. So it's less hotel changing. The 3 day tour that you have, it is just, it's the minimum amount of time we need to make it where you still have the immersive experience and you
Yeah.
don't feel as if you're just being shuttled every 20 minutes to a new site. But I'm very cognizant of the fact that it does require a new hotel every evening. I depends. Some of the guests will actually reach out and say, "Hey, you know what? Don't worry about that last night. I already have that covered at the different hotel." And then what I do is I do what you just asked. I say, "Hey, would you like to do the night, would you, your day zero, as it were? Would you like us
Yeah.
to cover that hotel?" Or I'll say, "You know what? That's fine. That means we're only providing 2 nights of hotels. I'll give you a refund of
Sure.
appropriate value for that last night." So
Ah,
we-
right.
we're definitely flexible in that space, and that's why I love to have the communication right from the start when
Yeah.
someone books a tour, even before that, like because you and I were talking before you even booked it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like, and that's, I love to have that personal interaction. Usually, that's where those type of custom requests will come about, and we have no issue of meeting those. We're always wanting to make it as easy as possible to make this thing happen.
Yeah. Well, that was it. I mean, so pretty
Yeah,
much
yeah.
you're already addressing that thing,
Well,
which, as I said, and I really, really want to stress, we had the best time. It
thank
couldn't have
you.
gone better. I would go back in a heartbeat. And the whole reason I'm doing this is to say to everyone, just go, live your
Well,
life,
thank you.
and just lifelong collectors or anyone,
Yeah,
just go. Because
yeah.
when I consider everything which I put together to go there, it was no more expensive than Star Wars Celebration, which I went
I
to,
know,
which
I know,
I've been to seven
I
Star Wars
know, I know.
celebrations, and this was
Yeah.
just something truly wonderful. But I've almost felt like I wanted to try to think of things for you because I think you've got everything covered, as you said earlier on.
Oh
So
no,
yeah,
I appreciate that, Jez. I really do. And like this type of customer engagement is what I really look for, because our product is what it is, and it's as polished and refined as it is because of this type of feedback exchange. I
yeah,
will take all this feedback and we quickly implement what we need to implement to make things better as we go forward. So it works really well. In fact, yesterday I just got the announcement. TripAdvisor, we are a 2025 Traveler's Choice Award winner. That's the
nice.
first time we've actually announced that. So that'll be on social media. That's 2 years in a row for us. And again, it's because of our guests who leave amazing reviews, but also tell us, hey, this small tweak, wow, that
Yeah,
would just take this experience and just kill it for us. And so I really appreciate the time you're taking to do that for sure. So
no,
here's a question I have for you.
okay,
What was, and you may have answered this with Dan already, but
yeah,
what was, I would love to hear your standalone, if you had to pick an experience, right? If
yeah.
you were forced to, I know it's hard. What would be your standalone experience that defined the trip for you?
I would say I found it really. There's two aspects of it. I came back even closer to my wife because of
Ah,
how much she saw my enjoyment, right?
oh, that's
So
great. That is
I
great.
think throughout our lives, we lay down ourselves for other people, for our children, our
Yeah.
partners, our wives, this, that, and the other. And I think she saw the delight on my face all the time,
Ah,
and that really brought out all the positives herself. And I think it's also because of the quality of the guide, because of Iman
yeah.
just like, come on, let's do this, let's do that. And there wasn't even any pause for thought. It was like, yeah, okay, roll up my sleeves and let's get on with it. So right from the very beginning, it was just that it was all about friendship as well, because that's part of it. That the relationship building and the friendships, that just everything. You drivers, guides, and the way in which we were. It was our VIP package,
Mhm.
and I didn't see that coming as much.
Yeah, that's great. That is really great to hear. And I'm gonna say that was an unexpected answer, but it was an amazing answer to hear, because in the end, the tours that we provide and what we craft it for Star Wars centric fans. But as you learned with Jules, it's not only for Star Wars fans. In fact, it's
Yeah.
for anyone who wants to have this really unique experience and do film tourism and enjoy Tunisia. And and having that end-to-end holiday experience with that friendship interwoven, which is still lasting, right? I think you're still in
Yeah. Yeah.
connection with the men.
Yeah.
That is what I hope for the most, because that will always make it stick for you as an ultimate experience of your life. And that's what makes me the most satisfied by far.
Yeah. It was just perfect. It was
Wow.
great.
That's awesome. That is such a great answer. And kudos to Jules. Amazing. Because I love seeing your pictures that you shared. And what I love the most is I could see your smile was matching her smile. Like that was
Yeah.
really cool to see. I knew the difference. I knew you were really the Star Wars fan, and she was the tolerant spouse. But I could see the matching smiles in that,
Yeah.
and that really did wonders. I said that is a great tour.
Bro. Yeah, it was. It really was.
It's
You got
awesome.
one
It's awesome.
life and you got to go and do it. And that's it.
It's so true. It's so true. And like I appreciate you bringing up the financial aspect as well, because I mean, like I love Star Wars Celebration. It's fantastic, and it's great. It is costly. In fact, it's
Yeah.
much more costly than the tours that we provide. And there's Star Wars Celebration. There's an immersion aspect to it, no question. It is the ultimate thing to be able to see. If you want to be with the massive Star Wars fans, that's where you want to be. What we provide is this very individualized, immersive Star Wars experience. It,
Yeah.
it's really it's really like your own personal Luke's journey that you get to have, and we've crafted the itinerary to be that, so that we put the binary sunset scene at the Lars Homestead. We had that little, where you actually have a binary sunset experience with one son, but you get to have that same experience. We put that to the end of the tour as much as we can, so that you really are having that Luke's journey of figuring out, there's more to life than moisture farming. I don't know what it is yet, maybe, but there's more there. And it's really this emotional, spiritual experience that you have as well, part of our tours. That's part of that immersion there. And
Yeah.
that's really part of where we go. So I'm very thankful you were able to have that same type of experience.
Okay, well, there's two things there. One is
Yeah.
we were talking about celebration, and as much as
Yep.
I love it, and I very much hope to go to the next one,
Absolutely.
anyone can stream celebration, right? Anyone
True.
can. You're not missing out. In fact, the likelihood is you'll see more if you stream celebration.
True.
So,
True.
you could just say, don't get a celebration and do Galaxy tours, because as much as someone can watch my videos, as someone can see my
Yeah.
photographs, until you're there, you don't get it. So this links into my second point, because you said
Yeah.
spiritual just now. So when we got to Obi-Wan Kenobi's home and I was
Hmm.
able to go inside, so that was it, the second point we got to. And so we had already been to the Toshi Power Station, which was
Yes.
great.
Yes.
And that was a really, really good start.
Yeah.
But going to the Obi-Wan Kenobi home and just going inside and just having a little look and finding the backstory as to how they discovered that, etc.
Hmm.
That I said on this little video, which I've already played on this video, is
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it
Yeah.
just feels spiritual. I was having like a spiritual moment. And
Yeah.
so it's entirely true what you say.
No, I appreciate that. I mean, my favorite part of crafting and building Galaxy Tours was the field work that was required. And look, I stepped on the shoulders of giants who came before me in the era in the Star Wars tourism, especially in the 90s. There's a litany of individuals that were so important in being able to allow the Galaxy Tours research to happen, and just building off of what Reynolds had done, what Philip Vani had done, what Gus Lopez, what Jeremy Beckett had done, what Lionel Netzel had done as well. There's these giants of Star Wars tourism in the 90s that really did this initial discovery and finding, and to be able to take their blogs and their information and their personal interaction and to really take that to the next level to build Galaxy Tours. That was so important to me. And then be able to take that and do the field work and purposely and I spent, oh my goodness, some of the sites, especially at the canyon, easily 30 to 40 hours of locating all the locations and building that itinerary. As
Yeah.
I went along and was having these experiences, it was, there was that spiritual aspect to it. And it was also like I was a kid again. I was just
Hmm.
smiling from ear to ear. Even if I was by myself doing the field work, I was just, giddy. It was just,
Yeah.
this nostalgia that you have of just being back as a child, and childhood experiences was just amazing. Every time, my goodness, I've slept over now at the Hotel City Idris, the Lars Homestead interior, at least 20 to 30 times. And every time I walk in the courtyard, I smile. There's no way around it. Like it is just
Yeah.
it's just this
Yeah.
thing that's there, right? And I know the night's sleep is not going to be the most comfortable. However, they've vastly improved. Like the current manager is killing it. He's doing a great job. He's like
Yeah.
improving it. The toilet situation is so much better than it used to be. It is actually there. It's really good. So like the night sleep it's actually one of the nights I look forward to the most for the entire tour, just because of how unique it is. But again, it's just that nostalgia, and then it's interwoven with those real spiritual moments that you have, where you're having that journey, you're reliving some of your life aspects. It lets you reflect and say, where am I at personally in my life?
Hmm.
Where do I want to be? Am I in the right track? And this is really this is where you can experience that. You're the what Tunisia creates for you, and what the Star Wars overlap and that filming history that's there. I don't know anywhere else where where you can have that kind of overlapping experience for everyone, regardless of your background,
Yeah.
regardless of what religious faith you have, what you practice, doesn't matter. It's that spiritual experience, that personal experience for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. You've got to stay there 20 plus times. Oh, that's awesome.
Dude,
That's so
it
good.
is awesome.
Yeah.
It is awesome. But I still remember the first time. It was 2017. I remember the first time I was there. I have photos. I'm obviously younger. I have much more hair. I'm not, so I look a lot better. But I still remember that time. 2017, it would have been in May of 2017. I walked in the City Idris Pit 2, and I
Yeah.
said, this is it. My smile was as broad as can be. And that's actually when the concept for Galaxy Tours was born. I didn't know what it would be yet. I didn't know what it would look like, but I
Yeah.
said, there's got to be something here. And it just kind of crafted and kind of molded over time.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, with that, I just want to say congratulations.
Thanks. Thanks, Jez.
I'm so grateful for you joining today, but I'm so grateful for discovering about Galaxy Tours and having this amazing trip with my wife, with Jules.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will be back. I'm sure whether or
Awesome.
not it's with my friends, because loads of my friends are now like, oh, I want to get going.
I gotta go. I
So,
gotta
you
go.
know, we'll be Star Wars for life. So I'm sure that there'll be another opportunity to go back.
Absolutely. And I'd love, you come back with one of the guides. You could join one of my group tours. Absolutely. I'd love to be able to do that with you in person as well. And obviously, as a return customer, there's always discounts involved, right? And this is something I really want everyone to know. In the end of the day, I want Star Wars fans to have this experience. I
Yeah.
would have people reach out to me and say, I can't pay the price you're asking. What can you do? And I'm always willing to be able to work a deal and get something that's manageable for everyone, because in the end of the day, I want everyone to have this experience. So again, I appreciate that. Love to have you back on tour. This has been an amazing conversation. I love the fact you set this up, and I love just looking at your backdrop. It's fantastic, man. It's great. Look at
Yeah,
that.
a little bit of a well, we're all geeks and nerds, aren't we, deep down? So
But you
yeah.
know what? That's I firmly believe in everyone is actually a geek or nerd in some capacity. Everyone just expresses it in different ways, right? And that's
100%.
and
Yeah.
that's a good thing. That's a really good thing, right? So I'd love to actually meet Jules one of these times. That'd be fantastic. Kind of get together and do that. But this has really been great, Jez. I appreciate all the effort you're doing in this video, and the fact you reached out to me to have me to be part of it. It's really an honor.
Cool. Well, you're welcome. Thank you ever so much, and have a great rest of your day.
You as
Cheers.
well. Thanks, Jez. Bye bye.
We're back now with Jez, and he's going to give us his top tips for visiting Tunisia and going on a Galaxy tour.
Yes. Right. Okay. So Do it, folks. Do it. My top tip. First of all, pay with Monzo or the equivalent. Pay with like Amex card or something like that. Because I didn't even think about this. When I paid for the tour, I just paid with my Santander card, my debit
Yeah.
card, and then I paid for it, and then Santander said, "Oh, here's a £80
Conversion
surcharge
fee. Yeah.
because the company set up it in the States." So
Yeah.
because it was something I bought from America, if I had
Mm.
paid on my Monzo, if I had
Yeah.
paid with something else, I wouldn't have
Yeah.
got that. So
Yeah,
before,
Barclaycard's good. I think
yeah,
I've got a Chase account as well. That doesn't charge you for the conversion rate. So yeah, probably Money Saving Expert's actually quite good for if you haven't got an account that does that
yeah.
already that you know of. They can probably point you in the direction of a debit or a credit card that will cover you on that.
Yeah. So pay with Monzo or equivalent or any of
Yeah,
those things. Just don't
yeah,
do what I did, all right? Look at the app. So, we're all busy people. We're all busy. They sent me a link to the app, said get the app, but I probably didn't give myself as much time as I wanted to.
mm,
Um, I started looking at the app like the day or so before we went, whereas it would
yeah,
have been better. I would have learned more
yeah,
if I'd looked at the app more. Phone power banks, because I was using eSIMs, and I think eSIMs always burn your battery down a bit
mm,
quicker in your phone because it's got double the amount of SIMs going on. But because of the amount of time your phone is out in your
mm,
hand on the app and taking photographs and videos and stuff,
yeah,
we took three smaller power banks. I know you can take the big ones, but
yeah,
phone power bank absolutely. One thing which didn't think about is you're in the back of these Galaxy, yeah, Toyota Land Cruisers and stuff. They've all got a cigarette lighter. They've all got cigarette lighter and a USB thing. So if you had a cigarette lighter charger,
yes,
again, bonzo, because you're driving around all over the place,
yeah.
take advantage of the power in the vehicle.
Did you
Um,
not take one with you, Jez?
Took power banks. I didn't take cigarette lighter with me.
Yeah, amateur, mate, amateur.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair. That's fair. Um, right then, cash. Right, here's an interesting one. So the cash is, cash is king around there, but it's a controlled cash. I can't remember the exact term. So you
Right.
don't get any cash in advance. You
Yeah.
you, you don't get cash in advance. There's an ATM as soon as you get to this airport. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, here you go. It's going to be an airport rip-off ATM. I'm not going to see my card again.
Yeah.
But no, every time we got cash out, it was really standard rate everywhere we went. It didn't change. It was a
Mm,
standard sort of rate
mm,
for the local dinars. Um, but you you need to figure out about the cash because you can't take it with you. You
mm,
can't take it home with you. So when we got to the airport, there was all these signs saying controlled cat, you can't take this, you will get fined, you will get, locked up if you take cash home with you.
oh wow.
And we were like, oh, okay. And then there was a guard who was like, "Are you got any cash on you?" He's like, "There's a shop over there." So you get there's shop in the airport, and the guys at the shop like, amazing, so he's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
selling
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
But so just balance the cash you need, but you can get cash out there in the ATMs. Um, Comparison is a thief of joy, right? So you've heard about my experiences. I've seen photographs of other stuff, and I was like, oh, I really want this photograph. I really want that. I really want to do this. I really want to do that.
Mm,
And I'm sure you will have the best experience in the world, but just go and live for you and your experiences. Try to, reproduce some photos and stuff like that. But um, you'll probably never get every shot you want. You'll probably not get every other shot which you've seen other people get and stuff like
mm,
that. So don't allow that to steal your joy. You'll still have an amazing time anyway. Have fun with your guides. We did. I asked Iman in advance if she wanted anything from the UK. We immediately were playing Uno with her, and it just really paid dividends, and it was just a genuine, sincere relationship on all accounts, all
yeah.
around. Really, it was great. Figures. So I took with me a Jawa cloth cape. I no, I wasn't going to take any of the others. So I took a cloth cape Jawa with me, and I took my very original Luke Skywalker, which was my
Nice.
childhood one. And I took an R2D2. I was looking at various things. I was like, oh, do I take my land speeder? And I just didn't have enough room. Where do you draw the line? So I took three figures, and that was that. Tried to learn some Arabic or French. Earplugs. Not that it was that noisy, but I just put just to try and maybe calm yourself or an ear mask or just bank some sleep in advance. because I just didn't sleep brilliantly out there. Oh, and here's the other thing. You don't need to prepay for a taxi or anything like that with booking.com. So because we got our flights with booking.com, they were like, hey, do you want a taxi from the airport? You know, so when we landed, and it was like, oh, it's only 20 quid. It's only good.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah, yeah.
result. Okay, yeah. Peace of mind. So we arrived at the airport, signed, you know, Jez, and it was all sorted. Going back, same distance, if not further, it's like 5 quid.
It's
Because
standard, mate. That's standard.
cost of living out there, it's so cheap. But I think we were just nervous in some respects about arriving there
Yeah,
with no TUI guide or rep, or you know, it's those usual things that I wouldn't mind if it was just me.
yeah.
But the fact I've got my wife with me probably, you know, would worry about a few things. So I was like, right, put her mind at rest. We'll get a taxi in advance, you know. And I was like, right, babe, as soon as we land, the taxi's there. Didn't need to do any of that because everyone appears legit.
Yeah, yeah.
It was all good. It was safe.
Amazing.
Tunisia's got this experience like we have all, you know, if you think about the terrorism which we've had in the UK, I wouldn't put off people coming to the UK. Yes,
No.
Tunisia's had some issues in the past, and you know, some very serious stuff in the past,
Yeah.
but so none of that. So absolutely safe, and from a gov website point of view, and from my own work gives me advice on going to places like Turkey, going to places like Egypt. There was no advice on my work website with regards to going to Tunisia, and therefore they don't see it as an issue at all. So
No, no.
you don't need to worry about any of that. It's all
Yeah, it's
good.
definitely a shame. I mean, it's definitely a country that's dependent on tourism. I think it's
Yeah.
their biggest product, isn't it? So you're gonna get a good treatment when you go out there. You know, you can't account for what went on. It's, you know,
No.
it's like anything. You know, we're just going through the 20th anniversary, aren't we? So it's just, you know, sometimes these things happen, and just like you're not involved in it. But yeah, it's I definitely want to go, and you definitely hear people talking a lot more about Tunisia. I mean, we know, you've mentioned a few of them while you've been talking that have gone out there, and everyone said what a great time they've had. So it's definitely encouraging me. But yeah, hopefully this video will encourage my wife, because she's kind of like, But yeah, maybe after you talking about taking your wife and having such a great time, she might change her tune, Jez.
Maybe. We'll see. I mean, you know, with all the photographs, it's been great talking about this with you, mate. And
Yes.
you know, going to be sharing some of my photographs on the enhanced video version. But yeah,
Amazing.
people should do it. It's been great. Dan, I think that brings us to the end of this show. It's the first kind of wish you were here show we've done, really. I know we did have a chat about Star Wars Celebration, but we've not done anything like this before. For those people who've not listened or seen one of our podcasts before, we're predominantly collectors, vintage collectors. I mean, you can see the collection behind Dan. You can see some of my collection behind me, and I've got a running Stormtrooper just behind me as well. But our tagline is with Generation Skywalker: all eras, all passions, all Star Wars. We dip into everything. We do reviews on Disney Plus shows. We did a huge deep dive on Andor. We do commentaries on movies. We do committees where we have a little bit of a debate amongst the other members of Generation Skywalker on what might have been the best Darth Vader battles, or what might have been the best on-screen relationships, or what might have been the best original Star Wars figures, etc., etc., etc. But we focus on modern collecting, vintage collecting. We've even done videos and audio podcasts on beer, Star Wars beer, where we've slowly got inebriated drinking some Star Wars themed beverages. So yeah, something for everyone, really. We are hugely passionate about Star Wars and about the fandom. And it'd be great if you wanted to check out some of our back catalogue on your podcast provider of choice and on our Generation Skywalker YouTube channel.
It's great, Jess. Thank you so much for sharing this. It really is. Yeah, it's something that everyone, I think, wants to do. I mean, I've got up on my wall, I've got a little bit of fragment of a crate dragon, and I always look up at that and think, oh, I'd love to go out there and do it. And yeah, it's really encouraged me. So thanks so much for sharing this, Jez. It's been great.
So it's time for us to close this off then. So it's goodbye from Dan.
Cheerio.
And it's goodbye from me. And until next time, we are Generation Skywalker, all eras, all passions, all Star Wars.